Hello. Okay, I am with Daner. Is that right? Hello, Daner. Do you hear me?
Hi, yes, I can.
Great. And I also have Juliet. All right, great to have you, Juliet. Let me write
Hello,
down.
good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Great. I'm gonna write down your names that I know about your attendance. So I have Daner. 1 second. Juliet. I'm trying to call Diana. It seems that she's unavailable. No, she's available. She'll come in any moment. So let's just try to give her about 1 minute. In the meantime, I'm gonna be sharing my screen. Okay, I got it. So guys, thank you for coming. As you know, today we have a writing advanced session. Now, if you were with me in the previous class, I want to focus these sessions on what we will call grammar for writers, as opposed to grammar for learners of second languages. And the previous class we talked about the paragraph, and in today's class we're gonna talk about the comma. So before we start, I have some questions about you, and is that I'd like to know what are you studying, and what semester are you doing, and also what are your interests in language. For example, I'm interested in education, I'm interested in phonetics and translation, linguistics maybe. So let's start with Juliet, please. You need to open your microphone and start speaking.
Yes, teacher, now.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, about my interest in languages, it is education.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And what semester are you
And
doing?
I don't know, teacher, how do you say homologué?
Wow. How do you say that?
Homologué.
I really don't have
No,
it in
let
my
me
mind right
check
now.
because I need to learn anyways. Homologué. Okay, the word for homologué actually is homologar. Please give me a minute.
All right. Yeah, I never used that word before.
Yes, it is a it is it's a connate.
Cognate?
Yes, what is
All right.
yes, un condado, connate.
Okay, and are you studying a student of Lille or Lille?
Eh, Lily, but I homologate because I am an industrial engineer. So I homologate 2 semesters, and right now I am studying subjects from 3 and 4th semester.
Okay, that's very
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, thank you for that, Juliet.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank
Okay,
you.
now let's go ahead and do it with Daner. Daner, go ahead, please. You gotta unmute yourself because I think you're not talking. Do you hear me, Dana? Yes, I hear you now. It's very low, but I hear you. Okay, you can start now. All right. Okay, let me tell you something because I think you have your microphone levels very low. I'm gonna show you how you can increase those. You go here to, give me 1 second. To more, you click on audio and video settings. This is gonna show up. And right here where you have your microphone, you go from 0 and you probably want to have it on 8 or 9. Your microphone, right? I hear you, but it's very, very low. Okay, guys. I'm sorry for that, Dana, because it was very hard to hear you, but maybe as you increase your volume, it's gonna become much better. Now, as I mentioned before, now let me mute you guys. Okay. And no, it's just so. As I mentioned before, in the previous class, we were talking about the paragraph. So right now, I want you to look at this image, and these are various different types of stylistics in paragraphs. What are stylistics? The first impression you get from a paragraph, not what it means, not the words that the paragraph is using, but the first impression. These are called stylistics. And within stylistics, you can talk about the font, the length of the paragraph, or how
Teacher,
yeah.
sorry, and also sorry, teacher. Can you record the video, the call?
Yeah, of course. I am recording it.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm sorry, didn't know. Thank you. Sorry.
No problem. Thank you for letting me know that. Sometimes I forget. But yeah, I am also monitoring my audio, so I know that the audio is coming out. All right. So we have this image. We have paragraph that's type A. Look at it. Imagine these are 2 paragraphs. Then we have type B. 1 paragraph, 2 paragraph. Now this one is quite shorter. Then we have type C. Very, very short paragraphs. Then type D. We have somewhat kind of normal paragraph, then a very short one, and a very long one. So Juliet, out of these images, I want you to tell me which one do you think looks better and which one do you guess it's gonna be easier to read? A, B, C, or D?
For me, is B.
B. All right. And why do you think B looks better or is easier to read?
Because I think in this paragraph there are have the let me think. The prudent space between a paragraph and another, and it's more easy to learn.
That's right. Thank you for that. And you will be completely right. In fact, I took this image from a paper that analyzed how pleasing were the paragraphs according to the perception of the the person who was reading the paragraphs. And it turns out that the most pleasing form of writing is this one, because the spaces between these paragraphs are equal. So the first paragraph is equal in length to the second one, to the third one, and somewhat to the final paragraphs. So it's important to have cohesion within your paragraphs. One good rule of thumb is that you need to make your paragraphs about 4 sentences. You can make paragraphs up for 5 sentences, 6 sentences, but if you really want to make a good paragraph, you need to write 4 sentences by paragraph. In the previous class, I talked that it's very important not only to use the 4-sentence rule within the paragraph, but it's also extremely important to not write 1-sentence paragraph, because we have people who do, for example, type A, but you read this paragraph and it's only 1 sentence. So the idea is to have at least 4 sentences in every paragraph. You can do it 2. Sometimes very good writers do 2 sentences. Now, as today we're talking about punctuation, we're not gonna bother so much about the paragraph, but we're gonna focus on the comma, and that's a part of punctuation. The first thing I want to address is that writers have levels. As we learn English, we have noticed that there are levels to language users. We have A1, A2, B1, B2, and so on. Well, it turns out that in writing, we also have levels. You can be a 1-level writer, 2-level writer, or a 6-level writer. How do we know about these levels? Is because of the usage of punctuation. Punctuation is extremely important because not only you're signaling stops and rests within your ideas, but you're also signaling how good of a writer you are. So I have here 6 levels: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this, notice, go in increments of complexity. This go like this, and we call this complexity. So that means the period is easier to use than the full stop and the comma. The ellipsis, it's harder to use than the colon, and so on. We have these kinds of relationships. So let me talk about each of them. Although we're gonna talk about in this lesson about the comma, I want you to have some kind of knowledge about each of the signs that we have for writing. So first we have the period. The period just means that you're ending a sentence and talking about another sentence that are syntactically independent. I'm sure you know how to use the period. This is level 1 writer. Then we have the full stop and the comma. The full stop, we use it when we finish talking about a topic. We use the full stop at the end of a paragraph. Again, I'm pretty sure you're quite accustomed to this. But the comma, on the other hand, is quite complex to use, and we're gonna talk about all of the uses that it has. Now we have the semicolon. The semicolon looks like this. It's a period and a comma. Yeah, it looks like this. And then we have the colon. It's just 2 dots. And we have the ellipsis. The ellipsis is just a fancy word for the 3 dots. This is ellipsis, alright? Hyphens. Give me 1 second, guys. Alright. Hyphens. Hyphens are los guiones. parentheses, I'm sure you know what it's a parenthesis. Quotation marks, they look like this, las comillas. Resources to highlight. So resources to highlight is probably the most complex level of writing, because it's a combination of periods, full stops, semicolons, columns, ellipses, and hyphens. So in this resources to highlight, we're combining all of the signs that we have for punctuation. Now let's talk about the types of commas that we have. So there are two types of commas. We have type 1, and this is type 1. And we call that just the comma, because it's just one comma that's between some elements. How do we know it's between elements? Because we have, imagine 1, comma, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's between the elements. What are the elements? In this case, the elements are the numbers. So very simple use of the comma right there. But we also have type 2. We call that a pair of commas. And we use that for groups of elements. We have an opening comma and a closing comma. So for example, in this case, when it's just the comma, I'm using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when it's a pair of commas, I can say 1, comma, 2, 3, 4, 5, and comma, and then 6. The pair of commas are these ones, 1 and 2. This is a pair of commas, and they're talking about this particular group. And this is the opening, and this is the closing. And that's it about the type 2 of commas. Now let's talk about the just the comma, the type 1 comma. So the type 1 comma, we have various usage for that. The first one is enumeration. Enumeration, for example, Mark has a pig, a cow, a dog, and a rabbit. I'm using it to separate the elements, and we call that enumeration. I'm using this example right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, so that you can remember it more easily. We also have a second usage, and it's verb omission. For example, you to the bed. I am a carpenter. My brother a mechanic. I prefer rock, she metal. So what do these three sentences have in common? That they have verb omission. Verb omission. You to the bed. I don't say you go to the bed. I say you. So when I omit the verb, I had to replace it with a comma. Then, I am a carpenter. Well, I have the verb to be, I am, and then I have a semicolon. My brother, a mechanic. I don't say my brother is a mechanic because I'm already using am. So because I am omitting it, I use the comma. Another one, I prefer rock, semicolon, she metal. She prefers metal, I can say, but as I'm talking about the verb right here, it's not necessary for me to use the verb. Now let me bring my pointer, because I want to not to highlight this. So give me just 1 second. All right, I got it. Because I think that was kind of distracting. All right. So there you got it. Verb omission and enumeration. We're talking just about just the comma. We also have just the comma for usages of formulas. What is a formula? That's a fancy way to say that we're writing a letter or an email. And this is how we start an email. Dear Mary, I hope you find yourself well. So notice I'm using this formula to address the person who I'm talking to. Therefore, I use the comma. Out of this 4 usages that I have addressed, the most important and the one that I want you to remember the most is the vocative case, because the vocative case tends to be the comma where it must be there. It's clear that we need it, but sometimes we forget about it. So what is the vocative case? The vocative case, we use it when we are addressing the person we're talking to. So for example, do you understand Jonathan? I'm using the comma because I'm talking to him, to Jonathan. Now, Julie, comma, please answer me. Imagine this as opposed to Julie, please answer me. The reason why we omit it when we write is because when we talk, we don't imagine a comma right there. Julie, please answer me. However, when we write, it's very important to signal it because we need to separate the subject from the predicate. The vocative case. I have here another examples because I want to highlight the importance of it still. So in English, comma, we don't say hola. So notice now, not only we're talking about subjects as if they were people, but as if they are abstractions as well. So that means topics like English, geography, economics, and so on. In English, this is the subject, comma, we don't say hola. And we have, it's true, dear, as opposed to, it's true, dear. And look at this one. I want to, mate. What happens if you omit the comma right here? Well, you'll probably say, I want to mate. And you probably want to abstain from doing that. Because if you say, I want to mate, but people are gonna get something quite different from your first idea. Now, I also have some memes. And it says, I like cooking my family and my pets. Don't use commas. Don't be a psycho. Use commas. Don't be a psycho. So, right here, it's quite clear that we need commas. So, let's try with Daner. Daner, can you please tell me where can I use the commas here in this example?
Cooking, when the word cooking,
Okay, cooking. There we got one. But Daner, can you please give me the other example, or if you're still here?
Teacher,
Please tell me, Juliet.
Yes, can we put the semicolon is not correct after cooking, no? I send that image, no?
We use the comma with the semicolon when we have two sentences that are syntactically independent. And right now we're just talking about one sentence. Mm-hmm. But that's a very good image. Thank you for that. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, yes, teacher. This class, wow, really useful for me because I didn't know colon and semicolon. I didn't know. Thank you.
That's great.
So, yes, cooking and then can be family.
That's right.
No, porque yes, it's right.
Yeah, that's right. Because you like cooking, you like your family, and you like your pets.
Okay.
All of them.
Teacher,
yes.
When we write "and," it is necessary because the next word is "and."
Usually, this is called the Oxford comma, and there are two types of arguments to this. Some people say no, you don't have to use the comma because the "and" is signaling a partition between the two forms. However, the University of Oxford says yes, you need to use it because you're signaling a rest before the end. So my advice is always use commas before the end. This is called a conjunction. So we have
Yeah.
and, but, however, and in every conjunction that you have, you will always have a comma before it. So I don't think and should be the exception. I think we should use commas before and, right? Now I have another one. It says, let's eat grandma versus let's eat grandma. So Juliet, what do you think is the difference here?
Of course, the first sentence is like we are eating our grandma.
That's right.
And the second, of course, she or he, they are saying, "Hey, grandma, let's go to eat."
Exactly. So it's an
Wow, it's true.
invitation.
Comma saves lives.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. I like it. I
So
like it.
that was just the single comma. We call this type 1 comma because we use it well for enumeration. What was the other one? Verb omission, formulas, and especially remember the vocative case. In the case of this example, this is called the vocative case because I'm addressing that I want grandma to eat with me. So vocative is just the Latin word for vocablo, which means subject. So let's talk about now pairs of commas. This one is a little bit more complex. However, don't be afraid. You're gonna be able to understand it quite well. Pairs of commas, well, in the beginning I said that we use it at the beginning and to close a group of elements. So let me explain that with this example. Mary, comma, the teacher, comma, likes video games. So right here, I have a group of elements, and these elements are offering me more information about the subject. So it's like saying Mary. Which Mary? The teacher, the scientist, the mechanic? No, I'm talking about the teacher. So this is why I need to use two commas. One comma right here and the other comma right here. And this is the predicate. What does teacher Mary like? She likes video games. This is called an explicative apposition. The apposition is this, right here. So Mary, the teacher, likes video games. Where is the apposition? The apposition is the teacher because it's between the commas. The apposition is the Latin word of apposto, which means nearby or close to. So the information that is close to the subject. Now let me give you another example. Fred, then we have the apposition. Which Fred? That one who eats often. That one who often cheats. Is just harming himself. So Fred, who often cheats, is just harming himself. My niece. Which niece? Wearing a yellow jumpsuit. This is the apposition. Is playing in the living room. And then look at this one. $200. I think we have two commas is sufficient. Because what type of 200s? Are you sure about that? Or do you think it's somewhat sure? So that's why I use two commas. I'm expressing the information about this predicate that's at the beginning is sufficient. Now, there are some instances where we don't have to use the apposition. Remember, the apposition gives more information about the subject and usually responds to the question of what. For example, Mary the teacher, she is responding to which Mary. There are instances when it's not necessary to talk about specification. For example, Donald Trump, the president of the United States, declared war to China. Why don't we have to use more information about Donald Trump? We already know he is the president of the United States, and we probably know that the United States only has one president. If it had multiple presidents, let's say if it had 5 presidents, yes, you will probably need to use the apposition. However, as we know that he's the only one, we no longer require to use the first comma. Let me make an X right here. Now this one, on the other hand, is necessary because right here we have a subject. It's a very long subject. Donald Trump, the President of the United States. And what is the case of this comma? Well, we're using type 1 comma. And it's called the vocative case, which is the one that I want you to remember the most. Now look at this one. The book that I borrow from you is excellent. If we were using the vocative case, it says that right here I need to make a comma like this. The book that I borrow from you is excellent. However, that doesn't make much sense because we have this word, that. So right here, the subject and the predicate have a very good relationship. The book, which book? That one that I borrow from you is excellent. So this is why we don't have to use a comma, because this one, that is acting as very similar to a verb. And this type of sentence we call a complex sentence. Why is it complex? Because it doesn't have a verb after the subject, but it has a conjunction before the verb, that is borrowed. Now let's look at this one. Students who cheat only harm themselves. Why don't we need a comma right here? Because we have who. And again, who is compounding the subject and the predicate. So we don't need a comma right there. Don't worry if this is very new for you. This is like level 2 of commas. And the way we get that is by reading. So I have some teachers that like to teach this as you need to practice more and do a lot of writing. But I don't think that's good. If you really want to get good at punctuation, you need to start reading. And I often suggest reading Harry Potter because it's quite simple to read and it's fun, has fantasy, and well, most people are familiar with Harry Potter. So if you want to start reading, start with Harry Potter. Now exercises. Let me do the first two. The way I want to carry these exercises is by signaling where do I have to use the comma. So let's look at this one. Number 1. Taxi cabs that are dirty are illegal in some cities. So my first guess is that I need to use the vocative case right here. Taxi cabs. However, we don't have a verb. We have a conjunction, and that is that. Taxi cabs that are dirty are illegal in some cities. Do I need a comma right there? No, I don't need a comma. So I'm gonna just leave it as it is, and that will be correct. Taxi cabs that are dirty are illegal in some cities. All right, how about this one? Oil, which is lighter than water, rises to the surface. Do I have to use a comma? Well, right here I have the subject. Where's my verb? It doesn't have a verb, so I have a conjunction. It's the same case as the first sentence. So it's compounding the information. Oil, which is lighter than water, rises to the surface. Do I need a comma right there? No, I don't need it. Okay, how about this one? And for this one, I want Juliet to help me. Madame d'Astel was an attractive, gracious lady. Where do I need the comma? Or if I need it? You can say, no, I don't need a comma. So Juliet, help me out in this one.
No, I don't think we don't need to use comma. And was.
Okay, and you will be right.
No, we don't know. Yes, we don't
That's
need.
correct.
Yeah.
So we don't need it because we have this was. This is, imagine this is glue. This is
Okay, yes.
information number 1. So these are very, very interrelated. We don't need a comma. We need commas when things are not so glued together. How about this one? Nice is a word with many meanings and some of them are contradictory. Where do we need the comma right there?
Teacher, the question is for the other classmate?
No, do it you, Juliet.
Okay. Nice is the word. Okay, I think it's nice. Nice, comma.
All right. So
Yes, nice. Nice because nice, and that the follow is the definition.
So nice
Yes, teacher?
is a word.
Is-
Let me read it for you. Nice, comma, is a word with many meanings, and some of them are contradictory. Well, the thing is that, well, we can think this is the subject. However, as we have a verb, this is a very
the
long
verb?
subject. Look,
Okay.
nice is a word with many meanings. Nice is a word with many meanings is the subject in this case. So this one was quite hard to guess because we have a very long subject and we have an and, a conjunction right there.
Okay.
So as we have and, before and, we have to do something right there. So where do we put the comma? Knowing this information that you have the subject and you have and.
Okay, understand.
But tell me, we know that we need a comma right there. Where do we need it?
What is the word meanings?
That's right. You got it.
Yes.
Because this is acting like a subject. So nice is a word with many meanings.
Subject? Yes.
And some of them are contradictory. All right, you got it. Now, I'd like to also have some answers from Daner. Daner, if you can type the answer of the final exercise, it will be really good. So I'm gonna read it for you. Mark Twain's early novels, I believe, stand the test of time. Where do you think we need to use the comma? And check if you wrote. All right. So let's do it with you, Juliet. Let me go back.
Okay.
Mark Twain's
wait.
early novel, I believe, stand the test of time.
I think the comma there is when the word novels finish. Novels.
Okay. Mark Twain's early novels. Do we need more commas or are we fine with just that one?
Let me see. No more commas.
Okay. So Mark Twain's early novels. You got the subject right. This is the vocative case. However, I'm saying I believe. So I need to use a group of commas. So I believe, then this is
Okay, yes.
the group of commas that we need to use. stand the test of time, because I believe it's giving me more information about whether you think it's an opinion or you think you're quite sure about it. And we call that the explicative apposition. For example, $200 I think is sufficient. This is the same case. You notice how we use two commas?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes,
let's
you're right.
continue. Now, according to the OLC, the Online Language Community guidelines, we have writing sessions, and every session has a topic. So today's topic is about stress in teens. I want you to write a paragraph. I'm gonna give you, let's say, 10 minutes for that. So write a paragraph about stress in teens, about the punctuation that you just learned. I'm gonna give you some examples right here. I'm gonna close my microphone so I don't disturb you, and I'm gonna be back in 10 minutes. So remember, stress in teens.
Okay.
Now,
10 minutes, teacher?
10 minutes. You can do a paragraph of 4 sentences, of 3 or 2, whatever you find more suitable, but it's important that you don't do a paragraph of 1 sentence. I want at least 2, all right? And I'll be back in 10 minutes. All right, so we have one more minute. Okay. Great. I got your paragraphs.
Great.
So, number 1. Teens are stressed out by being quarantined. Very good use of the comma. Not being able to go out, comma. That's an enumeration. Very good. You got that right. Not being able to go out to the movies and not being able to play outside. Very good usage of enumeration and the vocative case in this. A start. Now, second. My niece Sharon plays violent video games. Very good use of the commas right there too. I think that is bad to her mental health. Perfect. There's no issues right there. And finally, 3. Teenagers get stressed when there should be teenagers get stressed when there should be homework. Okay, I got it now. It's good.
Teacher, I call change these teens or teenagers? That is the same or no?
What is the question?
I can use teens and teenagers. It's the same for me, no?
It's the same, but if you were to write formally, you need to use teenagers. If you were talking to a friend,
Okay.
you use teens. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Teenagers get stressed when there should be homework, chores. Well, right here, this doesn't make more sense. Comma, chores, etc. All right, this one is level 6 of writing, and you already know that. Good. And I think they are very lazy nowadays. Very good. So my only observation is that I wanted a paragraph. So you shouldn't have enumerated every sentence. Just write them together. You don't have to do it right now, but in the next time, don't enumerate it. But other than that, it was perfect. Thank you for that.
Okay.
And I also see that Dainer is writing. Okay. So he says, Peter is my friend. He play basketball. Well, he plays. Okay. He plays basketball and is great. And he is a great player too. Okay, well, in this case, you mean two with double O. But the use of the comma is very good. We like to go and eat chicken the Fridays. Okay, right here you need to use a full stop because you're starting with another sentence. Tamara, my sister. Okay, right here you needed to use a comma because Tamara which? The teacher, your sister, the scientist. So double comma right here. Tamara, double comma, my sister. She liked to go bowling. And Fernando is a professor. I used to talk to him when we were in the school. That's right. Some minor grammar mistakes. Fernando is a professor. I used to talk to him when he was in the school. All right. So as this is a writing session, we don't have to worry so much about the grammar. We need to worry more about the punctuation. But thank you for your attempt, Dana. It was good. You used good usage of the vocative, which is what I really wanted you guys to perfect. And then what you will need some more practice is with the pairs of commas, with the when we give more information. Okay, and I got mates. Remember that the names always write with capital letter, majusculas, al inicio. That's right. And we start a sentence with a capital and finish with a full stop. So guys, that was a great lesson. Thank you for your participation. This will be it for it today. And that's it.
Thank you so much. This was really useful for me, and thank you. And I have noticed that we in Spanish language we use more the commas and colon and semicolon, but in English people don't used to write correctly. I noticed that. I'm not sure, but I noticed talking with people that speak English. Yes.
I actually made my thesis about that. It's a very interesting topic. Yes, we use more commas. And if you like to know more about that, I'm going to write the topic for Vianism. You can Google that. And that's the reason why we use more commas compared to English speakers. It's a very cool topic. I actually did my thesis about that, so I'm happy you mentioned that. And guys, I need to leave you guys right now because I have another class. So I hope you have a nice day and take care. Goodbye.
Okay, happy weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.